Hey guys, Martin here bringing you a Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle video, and so today we are going to be talking about the Part 2 LR, the Super Saiyan Possessed Gohan and Goten GT that will be releasing tomorrow on both versions of the game. This video will be going up at 10 PM UK time, and the banner is coming out at 6 AM UK time the next day. So if you're watching this video as soon as it goes up, the banner is going to be out in 8 hours time. And as always with these videos, we are going to go over my thoughts on whether you should summon for them or whether you should skip them, which will involve going over a few different things. We'll go over the unit very briefly. We'll talk about the potential for their banner, what it's going to look like and who is going to be on it, as well as the typical systems for the banner, like the pity and the tickets and all that kind of stuff. And then, yeah, we will go over my thoughts and get a sort of confirmation or conclusion at the end to answer the question summon or skip. Now, obviously, when it comes to Part 2 LRs, it's always a little bit more of an easy sort of decision, because a lot of people, you know, for a yellow coin LR especially, a lot of people, if you're free to play or you don't spend a lot on the game, you should be focusing on the big Dokkan Fest LR or Carnival LR releases. But obviously that's, you know, if you're someone who's a big fan of the baby team, you pulled baby, you want his team to get more buffs, then, you know, this is a unit that you're certainly going to be interested in. So we're just going to go through some stuff here in this video. So do make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new, let me know your thoughts on summoning for these guys down below. But yeah, the interesting thing for these guys now, obviously their big thing is that as long as you're running them on the right setup, turn 1 they have a 100% chance to dodge, right? So there has to be another corroded by the in-mind ally in the same turn, but realistically that's the only team setup you're going to run them on anyway. And so then on turn 1, before attacking, they have a 100% chance to dodge. Then once they have dodged and then attacked, they still have a 90% chance to dodge for that turn. And they get a guaranteed additional super as long as they have dodged. For every attack that they dodge, they get extra key attack and defense. So depending on how many attacks there are in slot 1 before they get to do anything, that also means they get to dodge multiple times, get these buffs, then they get to attack. They get a guaranteed additional super. If you get 18 key, they have additional attack that has a great chance to become an additional super. So these guys, I feel like, are going to have a lot of value on turn 1 for events for quite some time, right? Think about how AGL UI Goku still has value to this day because of that guaranteed dodge on turn 1. Now, these guys aren't quite that good because it's guaranteed dodge before they attack and then it drops to 90%. But I mean, 90% is still pretty crazy. In any event that doesn't disable dodge, these guys will just be turn 1, like, pretty much almost guaranteed to not take damage. Like 10% chance, you know, you could still get unlucky for sure. But they should be dodging almost every attack on turn 1, if not every attack, pretty consistently. And then on turn 2, if you really want to, in like shorter events, once they have dodged an attack, their active skill is then available to use. And that gives them a buff, but it also gives them guaranteed dodge for the turn. So this is what I was saying when we were talking about their details yesterday. Like, these guys are a unit that in events that are only going to last like 3 or 4 turns, they could potentially just dodge, have almost 100% dodge. Like turn 1, it's not 100% after they've attacked, but like they're going to have almost 100% dodge for the whole of turn 1. Then they will have 100% dodge on turn 2, and then you win the event. If it's like 3 to 4 turns, or if it's 5 turns, you just use their active skill and put them in slot 3 on their next turn, and then they don't come back for 3 turns. They can't get hit. They're providing support. On the active skill turn, they'll obviously do a bunch of extra damage because they get the extra attack and effective against all types. So, like, they seem like they could be very, very useful. You know, a little while ago, there was a corroded body and mind mission for one of the events that was a really hard mission that people struggled to complete for ages because that team was so bad. Now, obviously, stuff has come out since then with the free-to-play clones and all that sort of stuff, so that mission is a lot easier. But, like, this is kind of what we need for a Part 2 LR, right? The Part 1 baby wants corroded body and mind allies, but really his best team build is just being run on Omega's team and taking advantage of the fact that he's a GT boss. But like, from a design perspective, personally, I think that that is bad and kind of annoying when like a unit comes out at Dokkan Fest and then their best setup or their best team is just to be on some other unit's team, and their own team with their own leader skill just kind of sucks. So from that design perspective, having a Part 2 LR that then buffs that Part 1 unit, especially for these filler celebrations, I think is really good, right? Because we've seen the free-to-play Trunks, Goten, and Gohan Awakenings. I went over those in the earlier video today. Those guys should all be pretty solid. We've got the Majin Vegeta EZA, obviously the Rose and the clones from the Global Dokkan campaign. Like, Baby's Corroded Body and Mind team should be looking pretty decent with all of this support and all of these buffs. So that's what we kind of want to see, right? This unit being perfectly made to go on the Part 1 Baby team. So straight away, that does raise an immediate sort of point here for the summon or skip debate, is if you didn't pull Baby, whether you just didn't summon for him or you tried some summons and you didn't get him, I guess most people have done the free tickets, but you know what I mean, any summons past that. If you don't have Baby, I feel like these guys have massively decreased value, because they're still going to be supporting Corroded Body and Mind allies. Like, you can still run them on a team with Rose and like that sort of Corroded Body and Mind setup, but like the value for these guys I think just absolutely drops off a cliff if you don't have Baby. Because realistically, if you don't have Baby and you're trying to run a Corroded Body and Mind team with a Baby friend, like, who are you running as the leader? I guess it'd have to be, well, like physical Rose or these guys. I mean, if you have these guys, I guess you're running them as the leader, and then a Baby friend, and then a bunch of Corroded Body and Mind characters. So they could still work in that sense, I suppose. But yeah, I feel like the value, not even just the value, but just the hype, just the worth, the excitement of summoning for them, if you don't have Baby, I feel like is way reduced. So that is something to bear in mind straight away. Now, the other thing to think about is when we take a look at their banner. So this was the last yellow coin legendary summon banner that we got, which was TN, right before the Global Dokkan campaign. We haven't had a yellow coin banner since then. Now, bear in mind, you should get the summon points for the first 3 multis, but I don't think those are worth. You shouldn't summon on banners you weren't going to summon on anyway, just to get the summon points. I don't think the value is there in doing that, but you do get every 3rd summon is a guaranteed featured character. So there will be people out there that will just throw 150 stones at the banner and just pull the new LR on step 3. But bear in mind, you can also quite easily go a few 100 stones on the banner and not pull them. So don't, you know, think to yourself, well, I'll just spend 150 stones and then, you know, I'll get them on step 3, because it might happen, but at the same time, fairly, there'll be 10 featured units, because these pity banners always are. 10 featured SSRs. So we're going to have the Possessed Saiyans as the main character. Beerus being on there was kind of random. Obviously, like, for a banner unit, recently released banner unit, it would obviously be very cool if Trunks was featured, because it would make sense for the team. But considering the Baby banner is still out, like, Trunks will be in the banner, in the unfeatured like pool, but I don't think he'll be featured on this banner as well. And then you can see, like, we got the banner units there from the anniversary. Then we got 2 LRs. There's always 2 other LRs on these banners. It was Cell Max and Captain Ginyu. Now, a lot of the time they break it down and have like one LR that's easy aid and then one that isn't, or one that's like more recent. This one, of course, having the Ginyu Force and then Cell Max, like 2 very random, like both not easy aid. Ginyu was relevant to the Tau celebration because of mission execution. I'm not really sure if I don't think Cell Max had any relevancy to being on here, did he? And then we just get a bunch of like banner SSRs, like unfeatured units, or unfeatured like general pool units as the featured SSRs. Obviously the Ginyu Force banner units to go with Ginyu. Then we had the Goten, and then these guys. Yellow coin banners are usually pretty bad. That's what we'll go ahead and say here straight away. Now, some of these random filler SSRs, they're just going to be things like, I would imagine, maybe the Int Baby, right? Because he's just a random banner unit baby that isn't a Dokkan Fest, and annoyingly is banned in like most events. There's that Tech Baby banner unit who I think released with Int Full Power Super Saiyan 4 Goku. I could see him being featured on here, but again, he's a unit that, like, until he gets an easy A, is basically unusable. So it's kind of no point really worrying about him. But the two big ones is the 2 Easy A slots, right? Now, when it comes to the 2 Easy A slots, we pretty much know who these are going to be, thanks to the banners that are out already, right, or have been out already, and the Easy A's that we know we're getting. Is LR Super 17 got his Easy A, and on the Easy A thing it said he will be featured in an upcoming summon banner. And of course he couldn't be on the Part 1 banner for Baby because he's a yellow coin LR, and therefore can't be on the Dokkan Fest banner. And then of course we have Majin Vegeta getting his Super Easy A, and unless they do a random separate Super Easy A banner for him, then there's no way to pick him up at all at this point in the game with him getting his Super Easy A. So I feel like it's almost guaranteed that 2 of the slots on this banner are going to go to Super 17 and Majin Vegeta. Now, the interesting thing is that obviously if you have actually pulled Baby and you want to summon for the Part 2 LR, like, these guys being on the banner, if you need dupes for them, is probably not the worst thing in the world, right? Because Super 17 is a really good unit for Baby's team. Obviously, unfortunate that he's not Corroded Body and Mind, so he doesn't build towards the value of the Part 2 LR. But Majin Vegeta is. Like, Majin Vegeta, Super Easy A looks really, really good, so he should be pretty good on the Baby team. He should be good, obviously, like we said, just the Part 2 LR themselves, running them as a leader for a Corroded Body and Mind setup, like, he should be good on a Corroded Body and Mind team. It's kind of a shame that his name, obviously, you know, Majin Vegeta, cool with a name that is. It's a shame that it doesn't include, like, Possessed, because him getting the buff from all of those support units would be really awesome. But all of those free-to-play hybrids, they give a bunch of buffs to Corroded Body and Mind characters in general, so even though he won't be getting the buff for the characters whose name include Baby or Possessed, he'll still be getting a ton of support from those characters. So this guy will be really, really good on the team. So these 2 being on the banner is actually pretty good. Super 17 for Baby or Omega's team, because he is very good on those. And then, of course, this guy for Baby's team. The problem with the Part 2 LR is because they're not a GT Bosses character, because of the way that category works, which we all hate, they obviously can't go on Omega's team with Baby, which is a shame. So again, like, their value is kind of tied to Baby or running them as like a leader, and then maybe like Baby as a friend, which, you know, if that's the kind of thing that doesn't really appeal to you for that very specific team, like, that's all that unit is really good for, if we're being totally honest, right? And then the other thing to bear in mind, as we mentioned at the beginning, there will be pity coins for the banner, which is why it'll be 10 featured units, 1,000 stones to get enough of the coins. Bear in mind, of course, every SSR that you pull that you already have rainbowed, you can trade in for extra coins. You know, usually I think the average, if you're somebody like me who has most of the like random banner unfeatured characters rainbow, so you're going to get probably 1 SSR almost every multi that you can trade in, it's usually around 700 stones it kind of evens out to, potentially, for being able to get to pity. But I mean, that's quite a lot. And the other thing when we talk about summon or skip that we have to really mention every time is that it's not just about this banner and this unit and whether they're good or not. It's always going to be partially about like what else is going on and what else will be going on. And that's the thing as well, right? So as we get out of this celebration in a couple of weeks' time and move into November, we still have absolutely no idea what is going to replace Heroes and what kind of celebration we could potentially see. You know, I'm still hoping, of course, for some kind of crossover celebration, whether that's Divers and Marseillan, Gohan Black, some kind of new Xenoverse collab or something. Like, any sort of crossover type thing would obviously be very cool. And obviously that would be something I would be excited to summon for. If it's something you guys would be excited to summon for, you know, these are things you have to think about. Do you want to spend 700 stones to get to pity for these guys when something like that is potentially coming out right around the corner? And of course, even if you're not interested in anything like that, you've got the New Year Dual Dokkan Fest, which will be coming out, funnily enough, for New Year, like towards the end of the year. And then the anniversary, before you know it, it's going to be the end of January, and the anniversary is going to be here, and we are going to get, you know, whether it's time of Super Saiyan 4 Goku, whatever it's going to be, probably at least one of those anniversary units is going to be the new best unit in the game. So the big question is, do you want to spend 700 stones right now when in, like, you know, 2.5 months time, the new best unit in the game is out potentially, or is it, it's 3 months, 3.5 from now, I guess. So Yeah, there's also tickets if you're a purchasing, like if you're a spending player, there are tickets you can buy. It's one of those big pack ones where you do 30 tickets to get 30 characters, so they normally cost like $30 to $40. You do get some pity coins as well. I think you could potentially get it twice, so if you are a spender, it's pretty expensive, but you can get a bunch of summons on the banner without having to use your stones. But of course, if you are free to play or spend very little on the game, this is something that is just not relevant to you in any way, shape or form here, so I wouldn't worry about it too much. You're obviously not going to be purchasing these. So at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, the Part 2 LR, I think they're very cool. I like the idea of doing these guys. I kind of like their design for the baby team. The fact that they have that massive dodge potential, like I said, is going to keep them relevant in short events for a very, very long time. But I think it's probably not going to be much of a surprise to most people when I say that when it comes to the overall question of summon or skip, I feel like these guys are a super, super easy skip. Obviously, again, especially if you didn't pull baby. So if you're somebody who are, you know, you're low spending or free to play, or you're just in that locked in mindset, saving everything for the anniversary, like you didn't summon for baby because you're not just going to summon for a filler Dokkan Fest, then, I mean, that's the same answer for this, right? You're not going to summon for the Part 2 LR, whose role pretty much is just to be there to buff baby, right? Like, I think you could still make a pretty fun team build if you pull these guys and you don't have baby. You can make a fun team build and use a baby friend that would still be able to beat most of the events. But, like, the overall value, I think, is just not there in summoning for this unit, especially at this point, and especially as close as we are going to be to the anniversary. I just do not think that at this point it is going to be worth it. So do let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. Obviously I will be summoning on the banner with the free tickets, but other than that, I don't think I will really summon for these guys. I summoned for baby probably more than I should have, and I think I only have like 200 stones. So with the fact that the November unit could be some kind of cool crossover thing, I probably will just rely on the private server for videos for these guys, especially, like I say, as I did not get baby. So realistically, I should be taking my own advice, and summoning for these guys without having baby, I think, is definitely not a great strategy. So let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. What do you think of these guys? Are you going to summon for them? What do you think the banner lineup is going to be? I feel pretty confident that the two other LRs will be Super 17 and Martian Vegeta. I think it would be weird for it not to be, because we know that Super 17 is going to feature on an upcoming banner. It'd be weird for Martian Vegeta to not be available to summon with him getting his Super Easy A, so I feel like that's pretty locked in. But let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. Are you summoning? Are you skipping? Let me know all your thoughts down below. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Masked Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.